Andy, I'm not going to be on video. I think my internet's still a little unstable. A lot in this area is still unstable, Andy.
Yeah.
That hurricane really, and it wasn't bad for me in my neighborhood, in my area necessarily. We had some down trees and such, but like when I went to church yesterday and then just look at the news, Western North Carolina, like you can really see it was a lot worse than I guess I experienced, and it was crazy. Like there are a lot of people in Western North Carolina and even a little bit northern, northwestern North Carolina that are dealing with significant issues. It's crazy. So,
Yeah. Definitely. I've got family in the area. I've got some people I know in the area from Asheville to surrounding areas, and it's it sounds like it's really been impactful. And what's been frustrating is like we said before, Dave. Mother Nature is still just the most lethal of all adversaries. I mean, it's just devastating what happens in these communities, and amid all the other challenges, the fact it's being politicized is just
oh,
that much
well,
more frustrating. I mean, there's people in need, people struggling, people trying to put their lives together, people who've lost a lot, if not everything, because of flood damage and water damage. And then you've got people making this a political issue. It's like just shut up and help people, and then deal with your politics later. So I know my heart's for all those struggling right now, and you're dealing with it your own way with internet connectivity and other issues, which is obviously a very minor inconvenience compared to people are going through. But sorry for the frustration on your end, and certainly sorry for anybody that's being affected by this and their broader families. It's just so frustrating.
yeah, the politicalization of it is political. Yeah, well, I won't say that
Hard
again.
word, hard word.
Yeah, hard word, Andy, but it is bad. Here, I mean, I saw it over and over this weekend.
Yeah,
We're sending millions to help Ukraine, or we're sending millions to bomb babies in the Middle East, but yet we can't help our own people. Like this is it's just idiocy
yeah.
on that front. But yeah, I guess those are the people who continue to get manipulated over and over because they can't actually evaluate the issues for themselves. So, all right, Andy, let's not talk about that because it's kind of it's depressing anymore. But I'm going to start the timer because we got to start with football. Andy,
Do it.
you didn't have a game. You have a game tonight.
I do. My whole week's going to be completely devastated once again, Dave, but I'll take it. It's worth it.
What were your takeaways from this weekend? The Ravens looked really dominant against Buffalo. They're 2 plays away, really, Andy, from probably being 4-0 right now.
Yeah.
The Chiefs continue to sneak by. They win these games by the slimmest of margins. They're not necessarily racking up a ton of points, but they're 4-0. The Eagles look awful. The Commanders look great.
Yeah.
I mean, what this is a crazy week.
Yes, I mean, I often make NFL predictions, and I'm not often really right. You know what I mean? Like I say shit that doesn't have like, but I thought Baltimore and Washington could both win those games. I think they're both better than people think. Washington, I mean, something's happening there, right? And like, while I've got no love for the franchise, after the Snyder years, after so much misery, like to see them have a real quarterback, to them have a good coach, good ownership, and that club to start to turn around. I'm happy for both of those, teams and their fan base. It's good to see. So great wins for them. The Chiefs, look, they sneak by, but they always sneak by.
Yeah.
They always sneak by. But I mean, a wild weekend, Dave. The Steelers fall, right? The Steelers fall. The Vikings don't. The Vikings are still, playing some kick you in the face football. Tough second
Yeah.
half, but they won the game. It was a wild weekend. The Rams, like, banged up, injured, can't win a football game. The Bears beat them. I mean, it was a wild weekend. The Jags still can't win a football game. And Dave, I gotta say that for a guy who wasn't invested in the games at a personal level, with the Lions out yesterday, the New York Jets losing to the Denver Broncos was glorious. Watching Aaron Rodgers get sacked a couple of times, watching him throw a towel over his head on the sideline at the end of that game as the not really great Denver Broncos get the win over the Jets. I feel bad because I want the Jets to be a good team because they've been through the same struggles the Lions have, just haven't been there, haven't been good. I want them to be good. But as long as Aaron Rodgers is on that team, I love watching them lose. So it was a fun day of football for me, Dave. How about you? Your Cowboys. I mean, Washington's looking to be the team in that division right now.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. Like, look, it's only the first quarter effectively of the season. But if you look at the Commanders' schedule coming up, they may win four of their next five,
Yeah,
at least go 3-2. I mean, the Cowboys are having they play the Steelers next, which who knows how that's going to work out. Then they also have the Niners in there and a couple. I mean, it's looking bad for the Cowboys. I'll tell you I feel bad for my one son. He's in Jacksonville. He's excited about the Jaguars this year, and they might have the first coach fired this year. Andy, it's bad. Trevor Lawrence looks really bad. They can't seem to make any big plays, even though they have a lot of talent on that team.
yeah,
But to go to the Jets and the Broncos, I mean, Bo Nix had what 70 yards passing. He had minus passing yards into the third quarter, and yet like they're still winning. I know Bo Nix gets shit on a lot, but I kind of like the guy. I mean, he doesn't lose them games. He's not like playing. Look, you can look at the stats aside, but I mean, the Jets defense is really good. It was pouring rain in
yeah.
New York, so
Ugly weather. Yeah.
I mean, I think Bo Nix might be. I mean, give this guy a little bit more time, but he might be the real deal. You look at some of these other quarterbacks, and I mean, I'd certainly take the potential of him. So it's fascinating to watch. I mean, I'm enjoying the season so far. Like these games have been out of control, but if it's not Jacksonville's Doug Pearson who gets fired first. It's got to be the Eagles. They may not. I mean, they may get their coach fired this week. I mean, I think they're on a bye. It's as bad as you can imagine. I think in Philadelphia.
But but it's not just there either, right? I mean, Cleveland looking
Oh
horrendous,
wow.
right? I mean, it's just, there's some teams that shouldn't be where they are that are exactly, where they are. So I think that there's a couple of coaches on the hot seat, and they've got to figure things out. I mean, look, Tampa's playing good football. They did beat the Lions after all, but they kind of owned Philly yesterday. So yeah, it's a fun time in the NFL right now. As always, Dave. That's why it's America's greatest game.
Yeah, I mean Cleveland though, like, is that the coach's fault or is that like Deshaun Watson is just so bad? I mean,
I mean, they've been consistently underperforming, right? So maybe the coach is better than you know, maybe he's better than the record has shown, but they have not been a good team. It's just bad timing, tough luck with Deshaun Watson and the whole, you know, story that's been. But you got to make a change somewhere, right? You got to make a change somewhere.
yeah, that's going to be interesting. Okay, so the injuries continue to dominate a little of these things. Rice from Kansas City, one of their best receivers, looks like he might be out with an ACL injury now. There's a couple other injuries that have gone around. It, it's it's I tell you, it's going to be a fascinating rest of the year. Are you prepared to go into like my top five is completely crazy again. I mean, are you prepared to do a top five on Wednesday after these games tonight?
I mean, we're gonna do one, Dave, and it's gonna be crazy once again. I mean, look, the Vikings might be the best team in the NFL, so we'll have to look at it and figure out who's who. But it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. Any more thoughts on the takeaways, I guess, from from this week four, Andy?
No, I think it was a good week. Like we said, truth starts to shake out now, right? Teams that were questionable, like are they good? Like the Vikings, they're good, and like we're starting to know that for sure. Teams that we were questioning, we're starting to see like maybe they're not that good. And so like we said, truth starts to shake out around these couple of weeks. We'll see where it goes.
All right. Okay. There's our little music cue. So we'll jump off of that. It's exciting. And we got Andy, MLB baseball starts Tuesday. So I'll be able to recap the game one for the Orioles
Yeah.
versus the Kansas City Royals, our playoff nemesis. So all right, so we can do that. Have fun on Wednesday. Andy, let's go to another topic here.
All right.
Um, Andy, Batman. our beloved comic book hero,
Yes.
he he got a walk of the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Andy.
Yeah.
There's a star on the Walk of Fame for now Batman. This happened last week. Um, the Walk of Fame is usually for real actors, right? And real celebrities and not often for comic book characters, to say the least.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I hate to use the word unprecedented, but that's kind of where we're at. What happened what did you think when you saw Batman's star on the Walk of Fame?
Yeah, I mean, well, as a comic book fan, I thought it was kind of cool. It's kind of fun, right? I mean, Batman, fictional or otherwise, he's still as famous a character as any actor or actress out there, right? I mean, everybody knows the Batman. But I'll say, my first reaction was it should have been Superman. I mean, Superman should have been
Oh,
first, right? I
okay.
mean, he was first in the comics. He's the greatest hero in the DCU. He's been played by some fantastic actors. I went back and I saw a picture of Christopher Reeves as Superman, and man, he was a good-looking guy, and he was a good Superman, and like I feel like it should have been Superman to be honest with you, but I think it's cool that it was Batman, and it's fun to see that. It had me thinking back on all the fun Batman comics and shows and cartoons, and I mean he's a very famous character, and fun that he's not Superman in the sense that he's not the most powerful person in the universe. He doesn't have wild, fantastic powers. He's just a dude out there fighting crime, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so you want to go with the Superman route. You think Superman should be it. Okay, that's fine. I mean, Batman's had a good run here. I mean, very much like Superman too, on TV and the movies. I mean, they were the originals, right? Batman and Superman early in the 40s. I think Superman was earlier than that. But Andy, gets me thinking though, like what was your favorite Batman movie or show or whatever? Or and then separately, who is your favorite? Like when you think of Batman, who do you
Yeah.
think of? Like what character or what actor is your favorite one?
Well, okay, so am I giving you the favorite movie or show, or am I giving you like you tell me? I want to make sure I give it to you right.
Give me first your favorite movie show.
Okay, all right. So just because I spent so much time with it, my favorite has to be the original Batman Robin TV series, the quirky,
Nice.
goofy,
Adam West.
Adam West, right, running around, pow, kaboom. It was just I watched it on reruns, many, many days, Dave, after school, sit down. I used to watch Batman and the Brady Bunch and the Monkeys, and just
Yes.
and just have so much fun with it. And it was silly and cheesy. The uniform was disgusting. They weren't in good shape. It was just so fun. And like I love that. The movies, of course, are great. When I think of Batman, like that's besides the comics for sure, but like sort of like in shows and movies on the screen, it's that old series, Dave. I love it.
So then would Adam West be your favorite Batman then? Is that
So no, no.
okay?
If I'm going favorite to be different, I'd go.
Okay.
Yeah. So I say I enjoyed Michael Keaton greatly, but my single favorite Batman, like I just thought was like really fun in the role. I thought Val Kilmer was great. Like I know he wasn't popular.
Oh.
He didn't get the episodes that others did, but I liked him. I was a Val Kilmer fan. I know he like lost his luster in Hollywood. People didn't care for him. I liked him as an actor. I liked him in Tombstone. I
Oh
loved him
yeah.
in Tombstone, right? I mean, obviously Top Gun, but I like him. He was a fun actor. I thought he was a good Batman.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna double down on two. My favorite Batman is probably the Dark Knight. I mean, I think that's one of my. I love the old, Adam West Batman because I
Yeah,
too like grew up watching that, and that was always fun. I mean, Catwoman in those series were like,
yeah,
woo, like
yeah.
let's go. And then you had like, it's funny is that like Mickey from Rocky was the Joker. Oh no, it wasn't the Joker. He was who was did he play the Joker? I can't
I don't
remember.
think so. No, not the
Yeah,
Joker.
but oh, he played the Penguin. That's who he played. He played the Penguin. So that was always fun. But the Dark Knight. and that whole series of Batmans were my favorite. And similarly, like the Christian Bale
Yeah,
is my favorite Batman. Now Robert Pattinson, I think the most recent Batman movie, I thought that was pretty good. I didn't
yeah.
particularly care for like the ending of it. But they're having a sequel to that one, which is not part of the new DC Comics extended universe type of things. But I enjoyed that. I thought he played the role pretty well. But I think Christian Bale and that whole Dark Knight series was my favorite. So good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, fair choices. I think the new one was like I agree. Like it had it could have been good. It ended up not being as good as it could have been, but so it is. So it is.
Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting. So it does take me back though. Like when I see this, do you remember how in like 1989 when Batman with Jack Nicholson came out,
Yeah.
and Michael Keaton? Do you remember how big that was? That was like the summer blockbuster movie. Like
Huge.
everybody was dying for that
Oh yeah.
movie.
Oh yeah. For sure. For
I
sure.
mean, go ahead.
No, I was saying it was absolutely huge. I mean, everybody saw it. Everybody saw it. Some people saw it multiple times. It was just. It was. It had been a long time since we saw Batman, and then Michael Keaton came out and did a great job. Right, I'm Batman. I mean, he did a great job in that role, and it was fun to see him, pick it back up. Right. I mean, he did a service to re-energizing that series for sure.
Yeah, because him pulling it out in the Flash, that was the Flash movie was
Yeah.
bad in and of itself, but to see some of those old Batmans, even George Clooney come out. Oh, spoiler alert! I guess George Clooney coming out on that one. So, but I guess that movie bombed so bad. If you hadn't seen it, it's probably not much of a spoiler. So, all right, Andy, good times on that one. But that was fun to see. So good, kudos to Batman getting on the Walk of Fame. All good stuff. Andy, let's go to our last segment here. We're going to go kind of in a little bit of a interesting direction here. So, Andy, you forwarded me this where you too, one of our favorite bands, is definitely my favorite band. I know it's high on your list as well too. They put some new songs on their "How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb"
Yeah.
session. It's I think two new songs, and it's it's their 11th studio album. It's a shadow album retitled or kind of titled "How to Reassemble an Atomic Bomb," and it adds a couple um new songs on there. Andy, you've listened to it. I have not. What was your takeaways from that?
Meh, you know. I mean, like I mean, Dave, I think we said on the show and certainly said otherwise. Like you and I both, love you too, right? I mean, so many memories of just great songs, great albums, great enjoyment with the band. The last few years, they've been churning out these like remixes and like this is like kind of sort of like B-sides, like songs that didn't make the cut for was an absolutely great album. How to assemble an atomic bomb and or disassemble an atomic bomb. About to celebrate its 20-year anniversary, and so they're releasing these new unreleased songs sort of with that in a new album. They're just not that good. And the reason they weren't included on the album the first time around, like they're fine, but like you listen to them, you're not like, oh, this is great, new you too. It's like, yeah, you know what I mean? And so like I know they're getting older, but I'd love to hear, some really good new you too. I think their last few albums I thought were really good, but like these remixes and it's like just like you fishing just for more money. Like you got plenty of money. You guys charge an insane amount. You were just put at the Sphere charging a crazy amount for people to come see you live, or your fans, a lot couldn't really afford to come see you because it's just too expensive. Your concerts are expensive. You're rolling in cash. Don't just cut crappy music to make more money. Like give us something good, and they're not right now. So I was definitely underwhelmed. I won't listen to it again. There was some new music that I was excited about this weekend, but I can come back to that later, Dave.
Yeah, yeah, this is interesting time, like because again, you two in the 80s, 90s were like amazing.
Yeah,
We talked about that a lot. Then they came back out in the early aughts. I love saying the aughts, I guess, with a lot more music, including how to How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. They had Beautiful Day and a lot of other things. All That You Can't Leave Behind. Great albums. I really enjoyed listening to them. And then yeah, like you said, they've kind of released some things here and there, one or two songs here. They remastered their old songs. I was really excited about that, but then again, like you said, they took the tone a little bit different, and it kind of was off-putting. I haven't really listened to it a whole lot, but it kind of got me into this thinking. It was like I was tooling around on Apple Music this weekend, and I saw Garth Brooks, and Garth
Yeah,
Brooks was one of my favorite artists growing up in the 80s, like 90s. It was one of my first CDs that I ever got, a couple Garth Brooks albums, and his first four or five albums were just amazing. I went to a couple of his concerts. They were great. It was a really fun time. I haven't listened to Garth Brooks since, and I tried to like, oh, okay, maybe I'll want to get in and listen to some of his music, and it just wasn't like I was like, no, that's he's playing Vegas. I think
yeah,
he's got a residency in Vegas, and I'm just like, no, that's just not, I'm beyond that part. So it got me thinking about these artists like that we grew up with, and then they keep churning out stuff. Like we were talking a little bit about Pearl Jam, like Pearl Jam. I haven't listened to Pearl Jam in 20 years, it seems like. And then they released that album. I tried to give it a listen, and I couldn't get through it.
yeah,
I mean, but yet I know a lot of people our age who grew up with Pearl Jam too, who continue to love their stuff. But for me, it's almost like I freeze these people in time, and I never want to listen to anything beyond that. Like you two could have a whole new career moving forward. I'm going to go back to those original, like those early albums, and just listen to those. It's like Bruce Springsteen too. It's like I'd love to go see a Bruce Springsteen concert, but I'm afraid like the Bruce Springsteen albums I cared about were the ones he put out in the 70s and 80s. Those early albums. Like, but he's got a ton of albums since then. I would go there. It'd be a cool vibe, but I probably wouldn't know half the songs he sings.
yeah.
But, so I don't know. It's brought up an interesting challenge for me, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the. I think a lot of times we do that. We sort of like there's a time that we, especially growing up, because I think that the music we listen to growing up is really impactful. It stays with us, I think in a different way than more modern music. And so I think we do sometimes, fit people into that memory, and we want them to kind of stay there. And it's like, oh, this new garbage, right? Ah, this new music, and I hate it. But it's also like when we can step back, like it's fun to see artists grow, bands grow. We talked about like Pearl Jam. Like their new album was as good as any Pearl Jam album to me because like we said before, I think their albums are always like two good songs and a bunch of Eddie Vedder sounding sick. So like I think it's fun to listen to it, but it does change. But on that note, for example, the band's evolving. You know, in the world of rock right now, there's a little controversy because Linkin Park is coming back out with a new singer, a female singer. There's some controversy there. The former singer's family is kind of pissed that they're doing that. They released two new songs. Like it's good rock and roll music. So I mean, I love, I'm a fan. I love new music, and I do love seeing bands grow. And like some artists, we do sort of, pigeonhole into a certain time and place, and like that's what we want, right? I want to hear, Low Places from Garth Brooks, or I want to hear '90s U2. The new Linkin Park, it's good stuff. Good music.
Okay. All right. I did see some clips on the Lincoln Park, and that was fun. Yeah, it was a good jive, I guess. Good vibe. All right, Andy. That was a good little segment there. I think we can go through a good reminiscing of our
Yes.
old, of some good stuff. I'd be interested to hear if anybody else thought different, thinks differently on some of that music stuff. So if you like the new YouTube stuff, I'll give it a listen, Andy, and see if it's worth more, or if you're just crazy, but we'll see. So, all right, Andy, that's a Monday. That's a
It's
wrap
Monday.
up
Yeah,
day.
it is. It is. Dave, I'm going to be wrecked all week. I think the last presidential debate also followed the Lions, Sunday night game, if I recall. And we've got Lions Monday night football here, a double Monday night game really, but only one matters obviously. And then we've got a vice presidential debate tomorrow night. I'm gonna be a wreck this week. I'm staying up way past my bedtime. I'm going to be tired. Dave, it's going to be a long week, but the Lions are going to break the stranglehold that Geno Smith has had on them. They're going to beat the Seahawks tonight. They're going to advance to 3-1 before Dave. They get a bye week and come back, and I think they're playing at Dallas
Uh,
against your Dallas
uh,
Cowboys. So I'm excited. I'm excited for tonight. I'm going to be sore tomorrow. By the time we get to Wednesday's episode, Dave, like you'll be lucky if I show up.
do we need to have do we need to do are you gonna make me watch the vice presidential debate? Should I watch it?
I mean, I'm not. I can't make you do anything, Dave. You're a free man. You're an independent man. But I'll probably watch it, and we probably have to at least talk about it because look, they're two entertaining characters. I mean, if
Yeah.
nothing else, right? Politics aside, we've got two sort of cartoony guys. And if anybody missed it, Dave, the SNL cold opening, while entirely too long, had a lot of folks come out and play, Walls and Vance, Trump and Harris. Joe Biden by Dana Carvey was phenomenal. So if you don't want to watch the debate, just go on YouTube and watch the SNL cold opening and enjoy that for 15 minutes. Come on, SNL, trim it down. But yeah, we might have to talk a little bit of debate on Wednesday, Dave. We might have to.
All right. Over under for cats and eating cats, Andy. Maybe is it like five?
Tim Walls will bring up the nonsense of eating cats. I don't know. I don't know how many references, but there'll definitely be a reference. I'm going to say he'll bring it up. It'll be spoken of. So there'll be a couple references made, and we'll move past it. But he's definitely going to take that shot at JD Vance because, like, he needs to. He
So
needs to.
JD will probably throw out the latest ice figures that got a lot of news over the weekend, Andy, about how many crimes have been committed by illegal immigrants. The Trump administration or the Trump, sorry, the not administration, the Trump campaign is using that number to say, oh, see, this is what happened in the last 3 years under the border czar Kamala Harris. But in fact, the numbers are for all time,
Yeah,
not just, or at least for 40 years or something. But just shows you the effects of mis, and malinformation, Andy.
yeah,
So
yeah.
fun times, Andy, fun times.
Yeah, that's hey Dave, let's enjoy football and new music and accept that politics are and will always be absolute garbage. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cheers.
I can accept that, Andy. So, all right, Andy, with that, I will catch up with you on Wednesday.